You wouldn't do dressage on a quarter horse that ropes. You wouldn't be jumping on a draft horse. And you wouldn't go on mile-long endurance rides on a pony. These are situations where the right horse matters. A horse is a very big and very expensive project, so there are many things you should consider and look into as a buyer before making your final purchase. My 3 reasons are: activities that you may participate in play a factor in choosing your horse. The horse's appearance may play a factor in quality of performance and movement. And a genetic background on your horse may be an indication of its future. First, activities that you participate in may play a factor in choosing a horse. A horse is a big project that is time-consuming and very expensive. According to equine.com, simple pasture boarding is as little as $100 a month, which stable can be $500 plus. And factor in feeding, hay itself can be $60 to $100 a month. And farrier costs can range from a basic trim being $25 to $30, and farrier costs plus shoes can be $100. So I can attest as a horse owner that horses do get expensive, especially living in South Dakota where we have changing weather seasons that are really harsh and vary a lot. When it comes to winter, you need to have a horse blanketed to keep them warm and protected from the weather conditions and the wet. So you purchase a blanket, which can be somewhere around $80 to $100. And if you have horses that are pretty tough and wild out there, they can go through 2 blankets a winter season. And then you also need to factor in veterinary costs. That just when it comes to owning any sort of animal, things can go bad quick, and you just need to be prepared for that. And a horse is a lot different than a dog. They're very different in size, and so costs are different. And there are differences in every breed. When it comes to horses, they can be complete opposites, just kind of like a dog. There can be a Chihuahua, and then there can be a Great Dane. There can be a Shetland pony, and there can be a Clydesdale. There are 2 different ranges in height and size, and also that counts for feeding and how much space they're going to take up. According to Compare Horse Breeds on petbreeds.com, quarter horse, which can be for things such as rodeos or reining or ranch work, and this comes into choosing a horse that'll fit your activities, versus an American saddlebred horse that is bred for dressage and endurance and jumping. So those are 2 very polar opposite type activities that they'll perform in. One's more built, rough and tough, ready to go out there and rope and do something hard and tough, versus an American saddlebred, which is really dainty, fine-boned horse that is more bred for elegance. So there are many different things that you need to look into before finding the perfect horse for you. And then, a horse's appearance may play a factor in quality of performance. Phenotypic flaws may lead to future issues. I can attest to this as a horse owner myself. I have a horse named Quincy. He's a paint, and I got him originally for all-around work. So anything ranging from moving cattle to pleasure horse classes. But one of his flaws is he's pretty straight on his pastern. Pastern on a human is right down there. Pretend this is their hoof. So he's pretty straight, so that'll cause him future issues because he's so upright. And then these type issues can lead into problems down the road, especially when it comes to movement. According to Christy Jo Duberstein on UGA Extension, Leg conformation significantly impacts the way a horse moves. A straight or correct leg moves straight forward even with their step, while a pigeon-toed horse, which that means the toes on the hooves wing out, they tend to paddle and go outside of their line. A winged-in horse, where their front feet are toed in, they can lead to further issues when it comes to moving, because they can come in and then clip the inside of their other leg, which leads to further injury. And then this leads on to ideal versus grade when it comes to looks. So when you're looking for a horse, depends on what your plans are. If you plan to go on to halter classes, which is where a horse is judged on looks and appearance according to breed, sex, and age, according to Wikipedia. Almost every horse breed has a standard. So if you plan to show Arabians, for instance, their heads are going to have a natural dish into them. So this may be more ideal to have a really nice big-eyed dish-in Arabian. If you have one that's looking more like a quarter horse, which sometimes a poor-headed quarter horse can have kind of a Roman nose, which means they have kind of like a hump to the front. This will be more of a grade Arabian, where it's not looking good, and if you plan to show it, they will end up doing poorer in a class. So the appearance may play a factor in how you do and your choice when you're purchasing. And thirdly, a genetic background on your horse may be an indication on its future. The sire and dam play a big part in your horse's life. When it comes to buying a horse, especially nowadays, where we're so up to date and have all these records, we have clear indication of your horse's past even before they're born. So we can pull up dam records, which is the mother. We can pull up how all of her offspring have done, which could affect the buyer and what they're looking for. If they want a horse that's going to do so well in jumping, they may want to choose a dam, the mother of a horse, that has done better, so they may want to choose the offspring of that. And then this also goes into health reasons. If a mother is really, really bad on her hind legs, we can count her out because we know she's going to be poor, so we don't want any of her offspring. And this also can carry on into diseases and a bunch of other things. And then the story behind your horse may show where it's headed in its future. According to Horse Talk, the offspring of Hollywood Dunnett, a National Reining Horse Hall of Fame stallion, passed the $6 million mark in progeny offspring. Hollywood Dunnett can be found in the winner's circle worldwide, with 6 offspring passing the $100,000 mark. So, you as a buyer, if you're looking for a horse that's going to succeed in reining, you may want to look for one of Hollywood Dunnett's sons. So, when it comes to buying a horse, you also have to look in the past and in the future. So, what you want to do with it and what its parents did. So, when looking into a horse, people need to be fully educated on what they're getting into. They need to think about what horse would best fit them and their lifestyle, and think about what activities they might do with the horse, and as a buyer, what appearances and genetics are like in the horse. These are some of the many things you should look for before purchasing a horse.